Hello and welcome to Greek 1. This is Workbook 9, and I'm already open to the parsing section. So let's jump in. We'll keep doing a few of these. I don't want to spend a ton of time on parsing, but it's one of the things that's so key that I really probably will have to keep staying on here. I'm saying that because I'd rather do more warm-ups for you guys, but this is such an important thing that if you're struggling with parsing, I really need to have some videos, and maybe I'll do separate videos where I just do a ton of parsing. But okay, for now, let's look at this. I'm gonna start at the bottom, tend to do some of these harder ones. Alilas is a good one. I'm glad you picked this one because I looked at this workbook earlier and I was kind of surprised by Alilas. In your vocabulary, you have allelon, all right? The lexical form for this is, let me type in Greek here, is allelon. And that's really interesting because for most words, you would expect allelos to be the lexical form. You want that, the singular nominative ending for any word to be the lexical form. That's how it's listed in the dictionary. Except for allelas doesn't show up as a singular. It's always in the genitive plural. So they don't have a nominative singular. It's always in the genitive plural because it's of each other. And so you don't have that. So in this case, you're not. If you think about it, this is a feminine ending, right? So let's put that down. Let's do a step by step. So we're going to put that it's a feminine word, feminine ending here. Allelon itself is not feminine. It could be masculine, feminine, or neuter, but this ending is feminine. But now you're thinking, okay, this could be genitive singular. Well, allelon is one of those rare words that does not appear. The case ending, yeah, it could be genitive singular, but it's only in this word only appears in the plural. So we can put down plural, and the alpha sigma ending that is plural is the accusative. So technically, I mean, I don't know if you're taking this in the college class, if you put down this genitive singular, I would give that to you because that's the correct ending, and maybe there's a passage somewhere where for some reason maybe it can be an accusative singular or a genitive singular, but you should know that allelon only appears in the plural, so this has to be the accusative, and so it would be one another. Okay, so that's a tough one. I'm glad we did that one because you probably would have never picked up on that. All right, so proti comes from protos. I can do this. All right, protos, which protos is an adjective, and it could be, because it's any adjective, could be masculine, feminine, or neuter. So this could be protos, proti, or proto. And in this case, it's proti, which is a feminine. Oops, I'm still in Greek. All right, it's feminine. Notice that eta ending is a feminine. And then, of course, right away, you notice that iota subscript. The only ending, as far as nouns go, that's all you've learned so far. The ending we've learned so far with an iota subscript is the dative singular. So we've got a dative singular there. And with dative singular, usually you would say to first. All right. Now this is an adjective. So in order to be to first, it would probably be like to the first one or something like that. But anyway, as long as you can parse it and you know it's a dative singular feminine, we're good. Because this is probably modifying a different word. So, let's say it's grafi with a dative subscript. So it'd be to the first writing or something like that, to the first letter I wrote you or whatever. Anyway, I'll let you do the rest of these on your own. Let's jump to the warm-up, and let's start at the end this time. Let's start with eta. Okay, remember we're doing the adjectives here. So we got to remember that there's three kinds of adjectives. There's the attributed, substantival, and then the predicate. Let's see what we've got here. Pistos de o theos. All right. Pistos is an adjective, and it means faithful or believing. De is the postpositive. It means it comes first. Positive means it's the second word, but it's translated first, and it can mean but or and. And then o theos, that's the lexical form for God, o theos, and that's a nominative. So it's the subject of the sentence. So we're going to say God. All right. So pistos is an adjective, and it can either be attributive, substantive, or in the predicate. Now, in this case, pistos could be modifying theos, right? And so, and I think in this case, it probably, no, it is not. So here's how you do this. If the article is with the noun the adjective is modifying, it's in the predicate. So how do I know that? Well, here's the trick I do. I just say it in English. So if the article is on the adjective, right, then this would be the faithful God. The faithful God is attributive in English. You're saying the faithful God. But if the article is on theos, right, on the noun, then be the God faithful. And what you would say is the God is faithful. And so that's the predicate. I don't know if that helps you. So basically what I'm saying is if the adjective has the article, just say it in English, the faithful, the noun wouldn't. And so you would have something like the faithful God. And just saying it out loud, that leads you to attributive position where faithful is directly tied to God. Now, since faithful does not have the article, you would not say the faithful. You would say the God faithful. And in English, it almost forces you, like if you want that to make sense, you would say the God is faithful. And that takes you, when you say that, it kind of forces you to think, oh, that's the predicate. God is faithful. There's a lot of problems with what I'm suggesting. Number one, grammatically, I've already told you that the article does not mean necessarily translate the word the. So just don't fall into that habit of thinking that. All I'm suggesting is that for me, the rule of remembering how the adjective is acting, depending on who has which part of speech has the article, I remember just by saying it out loud, and that's the rule. So I know the faithful God, the faithful is the article, the adjective has the article, and so that's attributive. If I say the God is faithful, then the noun has the adjective. The noun has the article, and the adjective is in the predicate. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, then you can just remember if the noun has the article, it's in the predicate. If the adjective has the article, then it's the attributive. So however you want to remember it. So I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna just remember. So I'm gonna write but, and I'm just gonna say God is faithful. Obviously, pistos could also mean believing, but that probably wouldn't make a lot of theological sense. But God is believing. It probably means God is faithful. So I'm going to leave it like that. All right. This is a warm-up, but man, we're already warm up. That is a tough one. Okay. Zita. We got tu poniru. And it's telling us here that there's two possibilities. So let's do one. All right. Is from oios, which is the sun or sun. And this is in the plural. So there are several, and it's a nominative. So it's going to be the subject of the sentence. So the sons, plural. Okay. Tu poniru. Poniru is in the genitive. It comes from poniros. Poniros is an adjective. It could be in any gender. And in this case, it's a genitive. So whatever gender it is, we're going to say of and then evil. we don't have to know the gender because as long as it's possible to match up with E, we're good. But what are we looking at? Okay, we know that this is not attributive, and it's not in the predicate either. So it's not the sons are evil. How do I know that? Because if it was in the predicate, the sons are evil, this would be poniri with the omicron iota ending. Notice the endings don't match. So that's not going to be the case. This is a nominative singular. Nominative plural, and poniru is in the genitive singular. So it doesn't match. So it's not going to be in the predicate. And if, by the way, if it was attributive, it would also have to match. It is not. So that leaves us with this being substantival. This is substantival adjective. It just means it's not modifying anything. It's just the sons of evil. It's saying we have two options, and I do not know. Oh, yeah. So it could also be, the sons of evil or the sons of the evil one. How do I get that? Well, it's in the singular. So this could be substantival in the sense of evil itself or an evil one. That's why you got two, because it's substantival, it's acting as single. So it's either the idea of evil or substantival as the evil one. And that's how you get the two options. I would have missed that had you not put the 2x down, but that is a possibility. All right. Let's do some translation and let's move down to the harder ones. Well, let's see. I'm going to do this really tough one. I'm trying to do difficult ones since, that's probably where you're going to get stuck. It's got a lot of vocabulary that's given to you. Yeah, it's a nice and tough one. Let's see if we can do this. All right. Number 8. Mínate. Remain. Mínate en ti agapi ti imi. All right, let's go phrase by phrase. We got a little comma here, Greek comma, so we can do that. Mínate means remain. He told us. So remain. En is a Greek word for in, so that's easy. And then we've got a prepositional phrase here, all right? So the preposition and things attached to it are the prepositional phrase. That's what we have there, all right? Agape means love. And imi is my. Now notice here that my is not in the genitive, so it's not of me. This is in the dative. But it's only in the dative because it is modifying agape in the prepositional phrase. So this is in my love. So imi means my, and it's an adjective. My is an adjective attached to agape. So it's my love, comma. All right. An is if. It does not. It obviously doesn't. This is not an accusative singular ending. That's just the word if. Das. Let's read the next up to the next paragraph. En tas entolas mu dirisete. All right. If tas entolas. Entole. Entole is la. That's a feminine word. As is it could be a genitive. So this could be, no, it cannot be a genitive. This is going to be an accusative because entoli, in the singular, it ends in an ita. So this is a plural ending. So das is the plural ending. So it's going to be the accusative plural. So this is going to be direct object. It's accusative. The accusative direct object goes after the verb. We don't have that one yet, but let's just write it down anyway. Entolas is laws. It's plural, or commandments. Commandments is a better one. Mu is the genitive of me. So this is my. And then dirisete you have not learned. It is you keep. Now this is the verb. You keep is the verb. Dirisete. So that comes before the direct object. And we said that entolas is an accusative, which makes it the direct object. So if you keep my commandments. So that's why I'm rewording it that way. Well, the word order right now, if you keep commandments my, we'll go back and fix that. So right now we're just doing a literal word for word translation here. All right, to the next comma here. Menite en ti agapimu. Menite en ti agapimu. All right. Menite we don't know yet, so he gives it to us. It's a verb. You will remain. So let's write that down. You will remain. It's in parentheses, so that's a freebie for us. And then we have en, which is a preposition, which means we got a prepositional phrase here. En ti agapimu is the prepositional phrase. En means in. And then ti agapi, we already saw that, is love. In fact, we saw en ti agapimu, the whole phrase is in my love. It's the same thing we had here at the beginning. Oh no, that was a different one. This one is not it's not in me. So I don't know why they would use me here and mu over here, but that's a question for another time, I suppose. Okay. Καθώς εγώ τας εντολάς του πατρός μου τετήρηκα και μένω αυτό εν τη αγάπη. All right, that's a long one. Καθώς εγώ τας εντολάς του πατρός μου τετήρηκα και μένω αυτού εν τη αγάπη. All right, let's go a little bit by a little bit. Kathos is just as. I'll put a comma here so we can. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to break this down second line so we can follow the same lines here. Okay. Ego is I. There's no ending to that. Well, there is. It's just ego. That's the first person singular pronoun. Das entolas. We already saw das entolas. That's the accusative plural for commandments. And so that's going to be the direct object, right? We don't have a verb yet, so that's just commandments. Just as I commandments is a direct object, we don't know where that's. We don't have the right word order yet. Tu patros. We haven't learned patros yet. I mean, you could probably put it together. Father, patros. I don't know, especially if you know other languages. Okay, but it's patros, and you haven't learned this yet. It's got a weird ending. This is a third declension genitive. We haven't learned this yet. But even if you didn't know that, you're looking at this article right next to it. The article never lies. This is a genitive singular. So even if the ending's kind of bonkers, which it is here, tu tells you that's a genitive. So it's going to be of father. You have mu here, and now you should just see mu and automatically think my in English. Tetirica, which is the verb I have kept. All right, we needed a verb for a little bit. We still don't have the subject. Oh, yeah, we do. It's I, ego. So we have the subject, ego, and the verb is have kept. So we're going to move have kept up to I, and we're going to put it over here. So just so we don't get confused, and we're going to write I have kept. Now this makes a little more sense than just as my commandments of my father have kept. That would be really rough to translate. So we're at an and here. Let's see if we can clean this up just a little bit so it's not too confusing. Just as I have kept commandments of father my, obviously of my father. So we want to move that back here. Oh gosh, let's do this. My father. It's a little cleaner, enough for us to move on from now, and then we'll go back and clean up the whole sentence. All right, now we're at que, which is and. Hopefully you've seen this a bajillion times, and now you know que is and. Meno, we have not learned meno yet, so he gives it to us. I remain. And then avdu. Avdu can be he, she, or it. And don't forget, it can also be reflexive, or it can be the emphatic. I think it's called the emphatic. I'm actually forgetting what it's called, but it would be the same. So we're not sure what that's going to be. So it's going to be of do, but I'm just going to say it's of him until we figure out what exactly it's going to be. And maybe because I'm not sure, I need a context to decide. I'm going to put this in quotation marks or in parentheses, and then I'll figure out what of do is going to be. En ti agapi. En ti agapi. En is in and agape is love. All right. Okay. Wow. We're not even close to the end here. Here we go. Avdi. Now notice that it's spelled with a rough breathing mark. So avdi, you have not learned this yet. And let's see here if we need to look at the paradigm. Because I don't think you've learned of D yet, so I'm going to double check where it's at. No, that's he. Where is it? Here, demonstrative pronouns, that's 13, I think. Yeah. So you haven't learned this yet. That's not till chapter 13. So Avdi is this. I'm not sure how he's expecting you to know that. I don't think this is in your vocab yet, so I'm helping you out here. It means this, and you'll learn that in chapter 13. Okay, Estine is he, she, or it is, but Avdi is the noun. So Avdi is feminine. This is in the feminine, and it's going to say is. All right, so whatever this is, it's going to be feminine. This is something. What is it? We're going to look next, and I think we're going to find it. I entoli. Entoli means law. Okay, I entoli is the law. And it's in the nominative. Entoli is the nominative singular feminine. It's a lexical form, so it's law. But we have here, it's a predicate nominative. So you have two nominatives. Avdi is the subject, and entoli is the thing it is. So this is a predicate nominative. This is the law, or this is law, a law, or the law. We'll find out in just a second what it is. I and me is the modifier, which means my. So you're saying this is my law. This is my law. That sentence makes sense, and this is my law, right? He's saying, remain in love. If you keep my commandments, you remain in my love. Just as I have kept commandments of my Father, I remain something in love. This is my law, comma. And here we go. We'll finish it up here. Agapete, alilus, kathos, igapisa, imas. Ina agapete, alilus, kathos, igapisa, imas. All right, so ina is that, since, or because, and you really want to give all those options. That, since, because. And the reason, because context will help you in English which one of these really fits best. That, since, because. Agapete is you love. You love. And he says here, allelus. Allelus is from allelon, which is genitive. Allelus is the accusative plural. So this is the thing being loved, and it means another. Because you love one another. Allelus is the accusative plural. So these are the things being loved, and it means one another. So you love one another. That's the sentence. So you can kind of see what this is meaning, right? That you love, or that you love one another. It could be because you love one another. So that's interesting. We could come back and really think about it. Since you love one another, I don't know. They all kind of work. So we'll leave it alone for now, and we'll see if we can get some clarity here in a second. Kathos is just as. It does not inflect. It's just kathos. Igapisa. Igapisa is I loved. And imas, it gives it to you as you, just as I loved you. Okay, that's a long one. Let's look at it and see if we can figure this out. So remain in my love. That seems pretty clear. If you keep my commandments, you will remain in my love. That first part seems just fine. Just as I have kept commandments of my Father. So we would probably say, probably the easiest way of saying is my Father's commandments. I'm guessing that's God. This is Jesus talking about his Father, but I could be wrong. I'm just going to capitalize it just to be safe. Just as I kept my Father's commandments, and I remain of him in love. So we're going to look at this, and that kind of doesn't make sense. I remain of him. I remain his in love, maybe. I remain his in love. That's a possibility. We've got a little footnote here, so I'm just going to hover over it. Although possessive of do normally follows the word it modifies, it can also precede the word it modifies. So he's telling us here that of do is not referring to this, but it might be referring to agape. So that's the hint, at least. So that would make a little more sense. I remain in his love is what he's trying to say here. That's a weird construction, but that would be it. So according to Mounts, this is the one that it's preceding what it's modifying. So he's making an important case here. You can't expect the adjective, the avdu, to modify the word that it's following. It could come before the word that's modifying. That's fine. We know that in Greek, word order does not really matter. Just as I have kept my Father's commandments, and I remain in his love. That makes sense with what he said in the previous sentence, or the first part of this, you will remain in my love, so I remain in his love because I kept my Father's commandments. All right, this is my law. That since because you love one another, just as I love you. So it's probably not that since or because, but that. This is my law, that. And a lot of times you can take ina and you can just change that into quotation marks. So this is my law, quote, you love one another just as I loved you. Or you could write that either way. That you love one another just as I loved you. Perfect. So that was a tough one, but we got through it. All right, let's try another tough one here. Let's do number 10. Let's read it together. O agathos anthropos ektu agathu thisaru ekvali agatha ke o poniros anthropos ektu poniru thisaru ekvali ponira. All right, let's do bit by bit. O agathos anthropos. All right, so I use my little rule here. So as I translate in my head, I'm just, in English, you would say, so agathos means good, all right? That's what that means. And anthropos, you should know by now, means man. So the question is this attributive? Is it the good man or the man is good? If it's the man is good, then the man would have the adjective. If it's the good man, then good has the, adjective, the article. In this case, the article has the adjective, so it's the good man. So I'm going to start off with the good man. All right. Ek means out of. And then agathu, we just saw agathos. Agathu is good, but it's in the genitive. Now, in this case, it's in genitive because it's attached to ek, right? But there's another word, thesaru. So it's doing doubly, it's modifying thesaru, which is in the genitive because it's a part of this prepositional phrase, and that means treasure. So the whole phrase is ek agathu, agathu, thesaru. And what's happening is thesaru is in the genitive because it is attached to ek. And good is in the genitive because it's modifying thesaru. Notice that agathu has the article, so this would be attributive. This is the good treasure. So the good man out of good treasure. I don't think it's out of the good treasure. I mean, maybe, but out of good treasure, egvali is given to us. He, she, it brings out. We don't know the gender. The verb doesn't tell us the gender of the subject, but we know what it is because anthropos is masculine. It's man. So, brings out. So the good man out of good treasure brings out agatha. Okay, agatha means good. And notice that it is in the either nominative plural or nominative or accusative plural. So this could either be the subject of the sentence, which would not make sense because we already have a subject is good man. So this is probably not nominative, even though the ending could be nominative. This is probably accusative plural. If it's accusative plural, then it's the things being brought out. Agatha means good. There is nothing in this entire sentence that is accusative plural. So this is not modifying anything. Remember, an adjective can do one of three things. It could be substantive, it can be attributive, or it can be predicate. The predicate position and the attributive position, agatha would have to be the same case number and gender as the thing it's modifying. There's nothing here that is accusative plural. Therefore, this word is not modifying anything else. There's nothing else that is good. In this particular word, it is just a substantive. It is itself the noun. So what he's saying is the man brings out good, and it's plural. So we have to, in English, in order to make it plural, we have to add a word brings out good things. And by adding things, we're also recognizing that this is a substantive. This is acting like a noun. It doesn't tell us what the good things are. It just brings out the good. So you could say bring out the good, but because it's a plural, we're just going to add the word things to really emphasize good things. So the good man out of good treasures brings out good things. I think that's a fine translation. Let's go on. Que means and. Hopefully you're getting to that before I am even. All right. O poniros anthropos. We know anthropos means good. It's masculine singular. And poniros is an adjective which means evil. And that is also in the nominative. So that could be, that's probably modifying anthropos. So it's probably the evil man or the man is evil. And since the adjective has the article, then it's the evil man. So it's going to be the evil man. And again, remember, I'm not putting I'm not putting this phrase, the evil man, because I'm translating this as the, and I'm going in word order. That's not what's happening. What I'm doing is I'm recognizing that poniros, the adjective, has the article. And I know, just like you do, that if the adjective has the article, then the adjective is attributive. It's directly connected to anthropos. So in English, the way you would say, the way you would communicate the attributive position of the adjective is to say the evil man. That's a complicated way. And the fact that it follows the same word pattern, the same word order, the evil man, as o poniros anthropos, that's just accidental. So that's what I'm trying to say. That was an accident. It's a coincidence is a better word. But we are recognizing that poniros has the article, so it is an attributive adjective. Next we have ek, which means out of. And poniru is evil again. It's in the genitive. And thesaru is treasure. We already gave us that. And so evil treasure, right? Out of evil. Or it could be bad treasure too. It could be the bad man out of bad treasure. Sure. Ekvali, we haven't learned that yet, but he already gave it to us in that first sentence. Ekvali brings out. And we're dealing with the same issue again. Ponira. Ponira is an adjective. It would normally be modifying something. But in this case, you can see ponira has the accusative plural or the nominative plural. There is nothing it could be the nominative plural, but that wouldn't make much sense because this phrase or this clause already has a subject, right? It's the evil man. So this is probably not another nominative. This is probably going to be the accusative plural. So this is the thing being brought out. Now notice it's in the plural, so it's evil things. Now, does it have to be evil things? Could it be evil? Sure. But because it's plural, it's probably not talking about evil in general. It's probably talking about evil things as in multiple evil things. If it was singular, then sure, it could be the concept of evil itself. But because it's plural, it's making it sound like it could be anything. Evil acts or something like that. All right, the good man out of good treasures brings out good things, and the evil man out of evil treasures brings out evil things. That's pretty good. All right, this video is getting pretty long, so I think I'm going to pause there with just those few we did. I hope all is going well, and I wish you Godspeed until next time.